We have learned to blame ourselves and each other in the most unintelligent ways for things that we are supposed to be blaming the system for. The government and the kind of structure it operates on, things that we are supposed to be pushing back on. We blame each other for it, you know, and we do this in the most unintelligent and judgmental way. For example, if you travel from here as a Nigerian, as a black man from any African country, and you go to Europe and you do these things we call odd jobs, cleaning, you know, construction work, nannies, a security guard in schools, hotels, or whatever it is. You can earn enough money to feed yourself, have a decent apartment, and maybe a small ride, and even still send money over time, send money home to your people at home to get for basic things that they need. And you can even, over time, you can save enough money to start raising a structure here in Africa, here in Nigeria at home. That is from cleaning work, sales boy, sales girl, what we call sales boy, sales girl here. Over there, you can do it, and you are okay. You understand? Come back to Nigeria here. I can be very specific about Nigeria because this is my country. So, coming back to Nigeria here, how do we see cleaners? How do we see nannies? How do we see construction workers? In fact, construction workers, we call it laborer work. That's what we call it here. We call it laborer work. How do we see these people? We see them like failures in life. The kind of money they get from that thing they do is not even enough to feed them well. We judge them, we call them failures in life, and we think what we are doing is actually wise. But that is just to tell you that the system we are operating on is a failed system. There was a guy on one black guy. He's in one of these European countries, and he was picking fruits. He said that is his job, that he's making a lot of money from there. Why can't somebody pick the same fruits here in Nigeria and make enough money to just be okay? So most times when we see these people, you tell your kids, no, you have to go to school so that you not be like that person. That's a terrible system. Okay, your kids now went to school. Some of them got decent jobs. They got decent pays. But it got to a point where their own kids now went to school, graduated, and there are no jobs. So what's now the next thing you tell these people that go to school, graduate, and they don't have jobs? You see another narrative coming up now. You find another way to blame the person for the problem. Now what you tell the person is, you didn't study the right course. You didn't study the right course. That is why you don't have a job. So somebody went to the university, spent 4 years, 5 years, and you're telling me that there is no place in the structure that has been set up in the society for the person to fit in and make some money and make good earnings for himself, for him or herself. That is a failed system. It's not the person's fault. But we try to make it look like it's the person's fault. Now, you went to school. Now you want to study the ones they call good courses, right? And what do they call good courses here in Nigeria? Engineering, medicine, pharmacy, nursing, law, and all that. Okay, there was a time that it was raining that when you go to school and study these courses, actually you can make a good living. You can find something to do and you are okay. But now we have gotten to a point where even doctors, lawyers, and all these guys you are talking about, they don't really make money. I'm a pharmacist, I know I'm telling you. Well, how much do pharmacists earn? How much do doctors earn? The money they make is not even enough for them to even have one small ride that can be bringing to work every day. They can't even fuel their car. There used to be a time that teaching was a very honorable profession. Everybody wanted to be a teacher. You can ask your parents. Teachers were well respected. When I'm talking about teachers, I'm talking about primary school teachers and secondary school teachers. They were well respected. But in my own time, as a student or a pupil in primary school and secondary school, we hated the idea of ever growing up to become a teacher. Because of the treatment teachers receive in this country, very terrible, especially the public school teachers. Even in the private school, it's still trash. What they get paid is trash. So at some point, we now start blaming these people for you are a teacher, go and upgrade, go and become a lecturer so that you can be lecturing university students. That way you can become a big boy. There was a time everybody upgraded to that level, they were seeing money, it was okay. But now, what money do lecturers have? Lecturers are broke, they don't have money. Lecturers are not well paid. Look at Nigeria. ASU is there playing up and down with lecturers, intellectuals, turning them up and down, not giving them good pay. Look at professors, they are not well paid. There was a time you would be like, okay, you just have masters, upgrade to your PhD, you get more money, you become a prof. It's a lie. Profs don't have money these days. There is no money in these things again. So where do people run to? You have tried, you have become a doctor, you have studied those courses, they say there is money in these courses, you have studied it, yet you are not having, you can't even afford a decent life for yourself. You can't even eat well. I'm not talking about being wealthy, just the normal basic needs. A good shelter, good meal, clothe yourself and take care of your family. Finish, that's what I'm talking about. You can't even afford these things well. You have to struggle. So at the end of the day, you blame somebody for just being a teacher, he becomes a lecturer. You blame the person for not being a prof, he becomes a prof, and he's still not doing well. So where do we run to? Now they'll say, see, it's hustle. You have to be a hustler. You have to be a hustler. Hustle well. You have money. Not all these your teaching jobs and your corporate jobs you want to be doing. That is a failed society. The person saying that, it's not as if he's too smart. He's just saying that because he's living in a failed society. Okay, now everybody is now hustling. How many people? Yeah, people get lucky, but it's just sheer luck. In a failed system, if you become successful, it's just sheer luck. It's sheer luck. And when you speak like this, the way I'm speaking, they'll say, you are talking negative. Why? Because you can blame your brother for anything, for his failure. But you can never look at the system and point out the problem in the system. You can never point out your oppressor or oppressing you. But your brother has to be the one that is a failure. Do you understand? You have internalized your oppressor so much that you take their philosophy in you. That somebody must struggle. Somebody must struggle before you afford that good life. So that is just the way it is. It can never be the fault of the system. It must be the fault of your brother. So that's the problem we are in. So now everybody's hustling. How many people are making it from the hustle? Okay, they say, okay, hustle. Okay, hustle is failing. Going to tech, going to crypto, going to... There's something Sheon Kuti said about crypto and all those things. Those things we do these days. He said all these things are concentration camps we run to because the system is failing. How many people even still make out of every 10 people that go into crypto, like 2 or 3 might just make it? Why can't we do the normal jobs and still earn well? Why can't we do those normal jobs? Teach, be a cleaner. There's nothing bad about being a gate man, about being a security. At least you should get your daily bread from that. Decent one. That is a failed system. And what we do is we blame each other. You are not working hard. You are not praying hard. Oh, he comes to church. Okay. Yes, he comes to church. Why is he still failing? Oh, this one, he comes late to church. It must be the fault of that person, not the system. We love our oppressors so much, we cannot blame them for what is happening. So that's just the way it is. When you know the system is working, it's when people that are doing various jobs can get enough to take care of themselves, at least. At least. Do you understand? So that is why you know that you have to be politically conscious, because those who get in power, the policies they make and anything they do affects your life more than the way you think. It affects your life more than the way you think. Whatever they do affects your life. So you have to become more politically conscious. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Because remember Fela sang this song. He said, I don't pass speaking, I don't pass school, university, self I pass. As I don't start to work, na government I go turn face to. Yes, so we all have to turn our face to the government and fix our nation. That's just the way it is. You can't escape it. You can't escape it. People run from here, go out, they do these jobs and they send you money. They make enough money to at least be okay. Why can't it be in your own country? What is wrong with your country? Why can't somebody do the same thing here and earn a decent living? At least chop well, have a good shelter over your head, dress well from the thing you are doing. So that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. You blame the system and you fight the system and you try to fix the system. That's just the way it is. It's not the fault of your brother. Your brother is not lazy. They try to even sell us those ideology that we are not working hard enough. When Buhari was alive, he made that statement. Say Nigerian youths are lazy. But that was bullshit. Scrap. But that's just the way it is. So I think we should sit up. I think we should sit up, man. Peace and love.